water and prime hydration, as you mentioned earlier. When in reality, I think sodium needs are often fear mongered because people don't have a good enough understanding of why the sodium is even there in the first place, being pushed into these foods. Now, usually that's about flavor, but I think it still does matter for, of course, blood pressure managing hormones, like we talked about.
Yeah, exactly. No, it is okay. And so, what is bloating going to be caused by essentially at the end of the day? It's stuff binding to the kidney, right? I mean, there's really like, and that's why you see the problem with a lot of these guys that are enhanced, or why is the bloating so bad? I mean, sometimes it can be because of GH and nitrogen retention within the cell, but
Yeah.
it's going to be because stuff's binding the kidney. There's really only one way to eliminate that. It's going to be something like Clarinone, like a potassium sparing diuretic. I'm actually incredibly confused because it says that I'm streaming, but I don't see it present on my account, which is incredibly interesting. Are you kidding me? Okay, well now we're like Clarinone, like a potassium sparing. All right, well I think we're live now. I'm actually I
Incredibly
started the
confused
stream.
because
It didn't start it. Oh my god. Okay, well
this live stream was promised to us 3,000 years ago, by
okay,
the way.
well you know what? The thing is that YouTube sucks. That's what's so bad
No,
about
no, no. Can't hate on it.
that's what's so bad is that YouTube is terrible and it has just screwed us. Okay, whatever. You have all the footage. It'll post on YouTube.
Right. That's right. Oh, Mio Brez here. No
Oh
way.
my gosh. Okay, guys. Well, anyways, well, let's just continue conversation. You'll be able to see the entire live stream. I'll post it
On
later.
my channel. I will try to post the full thing. I'll send you the footage and everything if I need to.
Yeah,
I can
he's
tag you
so
under a Google Drive.
Banks is gonna send me the video, but we've been live for a very very long time.
57 minutes, 58
We've
minutes
been
so
live
far.
for 58 minutes, and I've been live, but it said that I'm not live. Then I was muted. A lot of different problems, guys. But anyways,
Right.
he's gonna send the footage over, and then we're just gonna cut it
Keep
up,
on, man.
keep on moving.
All right, so I'm seeing here somebody in my chat has mentioned um, all these problem guys are eating too much liver and they become sensitive to EMF. And this is apparently from Face IQ videos. So if you guys are not familiar with who Face IQ is, he is also someone who is very involved in nutrition. He is also kind of prevalent amongst the primal community, and of course the entire standpoint of eating as closely to our ancestors as possible, but also optimizing that entire approach.
Yep.
And now EMFs have become very, very popular nowadays, but I am going to reserve my, I guess, speaking rights on this because I do not have any information or
The
enough information
knowledge.
at all. Exactly. And so there's
Yeah.
no way that I would put my opinion out
So
there because it would just be wrong.
I have quite I used to be really into all of this, right? And I will say as far as it goes with EMFs, you don't have to worry about actual damage to the DNA, right? They can't actually rip off electrons. They're lower energy than visible light. The
Okay.
problem is that they can harm a lot of other processes, right? Like we said with retinol specifically, right? It can change the molecular structure just from I mean it does essentially rip electrons off, but only in very specific molecules, and has to deal with the actual valence shell, right? The
Mhm.
thing is it's like, how are you gonna sit there and say all this stuff about EMFs, and then you're gonna go outside in the sun without sunscreen for hours at a time? It's like that doesn't make sense to me. So it's like you have to be willing to acknowledge the fact that the sun literally is killing you. And I appreciate sunlight. I really do love sunlight. But us as Caucasians, you're obviously, you have a little bit more melanin going on than me. You look like you've been in the sun a good bit. But we aren't meant to spend a lot of time in the sun. Or like, I'm okay. I'm all for no sunscreen for a little bit. That's fine, right? But we simply didn't evolve to handle the sun that we're experiencing in the southeast of the U.S. That's just not something. Look at the native people, and I know native doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means. Whatever, we're not here
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
discuss
understand. I
that.
understand.
But look at the native people of the southeastern U.S. Those are very very dark people. Okay,
Mhm.
and they came from the northern hemisphere, and they migrated down here. They You can kind of almost tell, right? But yeah, they have an intense amount of melanin. We don't have that, right? And that skin cancer is incredibly prevalent, right? Prevalent,
Intense.
prevalent. What am I talking about? Prevalent. It's incredibly prevalent. But I mean, people are always going to be able to link it to something like, okay, well, the diets, the linoleic acid, that's what's causing the sunburns. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, to an extent, but at the same time, the sun, we really aren't meant to, sit outside, getting lasered by the sun. We would have a lot more melanin, right? And I'm kind of
Yeah.
talking in circles here, but that's just my 2 cents, right?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that the idea though that you should approach the sun as, oh, it's killing me, I should make sure to wear as much sunscreen as
Yeah,
possible.
definitely not that.
One of the reasons why people get burned in the first place is because they don't have enough exposure previously to have
Yes.
built like a protective layer. And so of course you notice this almost directly anytime that anybody has ever gone to the beach before, at least one of my pasty friends out there. It's like if you go to the beach the first day, you get a lot of sun, you get this euphoric feeling, of course, which is real. It can also help suppress your appetite from alpha MSH.
Mm,
It can help with synthesizing vitamin D. It's honestly great. It's a wonderful feeling. But then, of course, what's following that is an immense amount of sunburn and oxidative damage
right.
and localized swelling of the skin, and this is causing you to gain a lot of weight, like water weight retention, whatever. And of course, then you immediately throw this as, oh, the sun is extremely damaging and I need to wear tons of sunscreen. When in reality, you have to fast forward, or I'm sorry, go back in time about a week from there and see
Exactly.
what was I doing a week previously. I was sitting inside all day for hours, essentially getting no UV exposure. And so, of course, you can't really blame the sun in that general sense. I think the amount of benefits from the sun outweigh ultimately avoiding it as modern day society does. And of course, the biggest one that most people don't discuss is setting yourself within your circadian rhythm. And the circadian rhythm is, I think it has become a buzzword, or at least it's become, I don't even know the verbiage to describe that. When somebody just simply thinks that the word is too large or there's just too much of a
It's
gray area for
a
what it
little
possibly could
daunting.
mean.
Is that what you're looking for? It's
Possibly.
overemphasized. I mean, I
Yeah,
definitely
it's
do
it's
think
the
it's a
same
little
word. It's the
overemphasized.
same way that the word mitochondria is treated. When
Yeah.
you hear the word mitochondria, people hear that and they think it's like this incredibly
Complex
crazy
and nuanced.
process. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have one crowd that I would not say think for themselves. I would say this crowd of people might just think this way because they've been whatever spoon fed certain videos online that everything should be thought of in an intuitive manner, and that, oh, if you can't see it, it's not real and it doesn't exist. But I think that the mitochondria, it's definitely something worth looking into and trying to use. Yes, it could be theories, and yes, it could be research, and yes, some of it could be mechanistic stretch, but using it to our advantage when it comes to real world application can absolutely be beneficial. And the same thing applies to your circadian rhythm. And this points back to what the sun actually does and how it sets your circadian rhythm up. Why is that even important? So I think one of the bigger things is that whenever you're getting sun exposure, that sunlight is hitting your retina, which is helping send a signal to your SCN, your suprachiasmatic nucleus. And this is in your brain, it's in your prefrontal cortex, and it's helping align your circadian rhythm, which is tied to digestion, it's tied to your hunger hormone release, it is tied to endorphins, it's tied to different neurosteroids in the brain. So it's incredibly important that you do get daily and consistent sunlight exposure. And this is one of the bigger things that most people don't recommend in modern day fitness or in modern day health. But now recently it's starting to get a little bit more light, which I no pun intended on that sentence right there. But I think it's incredibly important, and it often doesn't get enough attention as it should. So that's my personal opinion on sunlight exposure.
Yeah, and a big thing is too as well, and it may seem like I'm kind of you know, striking over my last point, but I do this, and I've talked about this in my old YouTube videos, my vlogs. It really is important to just get out there as soon as you wake up, even if there is overcast or there isn't as much sun
Mhm.
that day. Getting sun light in your retina from the sun is incredibly important, right? So going outside, just getting that light in your eyes for like 15-20 minutes, it's a game changer, right? For sure.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously, I think if you have access to it, watching the sunset is one of the greatest things you can do for your sleep. It's
Yes.
amazing. It really is. And I can't do that in my area. There's too many trees. I can't even see it. But I mean, just seeing those colors kind of diffract within the sky itself, it really is. It's very good for your circadian rhythm.
Yeah.
So the circadian rhythm to you, kind of that winding down process, what does it mean to you? Is it just melatonin? Tell the audience.
So circadian rhythm is much more than just getting your sleep. I know a lot of people they first focus on that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, sleep nowadays is a very sensitive trough for some people because of, and it's going to point right back to dopamine and doom scrolling. People are, often sitting in their bed for hours upon hours.
Yep.
When the sun's down, they're eating large meals late at night. They're working graveyard shifts. They're doing whatever they can,
Exactly.
it's what it seems at least. They're doing whatever they can to go against their circadian rhythm, their natural ways at least. So I think first just getting the habit of, sunlight exposure in the morning and then obviously before bed. This is going to play into multiple different systems rather than just addressing your sleep. This is also, as I mentioned earlier, going to help with the way that your body digests food. This ultimately is connected to your blood glucose availability. It's related to your insulin sensitivity. It's related to digestion. Excuse me. It is also related to energy
I'm
production.
screaming.
It's also tied to different hormones as well. Things like your liver, things like your brain, things like your heart, they're all tied to circadian rhythm, which most people don't understand that. I would go even as far to say that there is some circadian relationship as well. Now, of course, I've seen from some creators online that really, really, really push their circadian system or circadian rhythm related eating and how everything should be tied to your environment and not necessarily, modern day society. I don't necessarily agree with that point, just because there has to be nuance for everyone. But I think it is something worth considering. So, anyways, I think circadian rhythm is very, very slept on. Once again, no pun
No
intended.
pun intended.
But the easiest way to simplify this for people that have recently just joined the stream or are looking to just get some simple tips taken away from it, just get out in the sun at least in the morning for, let's say, 10, 15 minutes, and then try to get some sunlight in your eyes before bed. And a simple piece of advice, try to remove the context, try to remove the glasses, try to not stare through a window. You guys have to understand about, like had Braden said, light diffraction. It can
Yeah.
happen from a different range of lenses or glass or whatever the case may be. And so trying to just get the sunlight on your actual eyeballs is very, very important,
Yeah,
or just the skin in general.
I
So,
believe what's interesting as well is we split up UV into UVA and UVB, and
mhm.
most Windows that being right, they're of quartz type essentially.
Yeah.
They I think that UVA is able to get through, but UVB doesn't. Right, UVB is the one that we think of, or like the traditional. It's a less powerful one. It's not as ionizing, and it's like responsible for mainly like tanning. That's why you can tan through sunscreen, right? You're not getting UVA, as much UVA. It kind of depends on the SPF, right? Um, but yeah, that is incredibly important, right? So if you have glass, you have a contact even, like a lot of the time, you need the full spectrum of UV to kind of fully activate that. I guess is it the pineal gland responsible for that secretion, or is it what is usually for most?
Yeah, it is the pineal gland, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, no. So
um,
incredibly important, and
I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of different discussion recently about the pineal gland, and
the whole
this is going to
calcified
dive.
thing.
Yeah, it's going to
Yeah,
dive into like some
yeah,
whole conspiracy theorists and whatnot, like the
fluoride.
four different, yeah, fluoride, and of course the
The
what's in
third
the sky,
eye.
the aluminum.
Oh
Yeah, the
yeah.
third eye.
The
And there's
chemtrails.
aluminum in the sky,
Chemtrails.
chemtrails, and then EMFs,
Yeah.
and what's the fourth one? Fluoride, aluminum, EMFs, and then
Grounding? Is it grounding?
maybe it's a fourth one that's used against us,
No,
if
I
that
can't.
makes
I
sense.
can't think of what that would be. But
Maybe somebody
I
in
think
this chat
honestly, I
knows.
mean, there's a lot of science to back up some of the claims. Chemtrails, I don't believe in.
Yeah.
Obviously, yeah, like we said, there is obviously going to be some harms to like any most forms of electromagnetic radiation, right? Like they're gonna have an effect on our body. Um, with that being said, I mean, I don't think the chemtrails are real. I think that's just one of the ones that they missed on. Flat Earth, maybe. Maybe you thinking of flat Earth. So then I unironically had a follower of mine who lives in my local area that fully convinced on flat Earth, and I was like, oh, "What do you mean?" And then like you can always make the argument that obviously science easily disproves it via gravity. And it's like their response to any argument that science proves is to just reject the science and say, "Well, I can't see it." Like that whole mentality. It's like, well,
The
gravity,
intuitive side of thing.
well, gravity doesn't exist. Well, so then how did things fall? And it's like because they just do. They go to the ground. What do you mean? It's like there are a lot of things that we experience on a daily basis that we kind of take for granted that science explains. Like even like looking at your computer screen right now, how incredibly intricate that process is.
Mhm.
Don't even have to dive to like the quantum level of things, anything like that. Obviously
Like a
everything.
microchip.
Yeah, you literally think about how complex that is. I mean, it's not like I mean, you can make any part of science complicated like
Mhm.
obviously, but I mean, it really is interesting. It's fascinating. If you were to give a lot of these people all the time in the world, I don't think that they could devise anything. A lot of the creative endeavors, the I guess I should say the products and creative endeavors of people with bright minds came up
Yeah.
with.
I do think it's worthwhile to defend some of the people that do have that approach to life. And there's not
Yeah,
like there's no reason to demonize that because you have to understand where they're coming from. When you're raised with a lot of these hyper processed and hyper palatable foods that shift a lot of people into a state of inflammation, into obviously these different neurodivergent cases, and autism rates are much higher, and people are getting prescribed different antidepressants and SSRIs and whatever medication has been pushed at a much more prevalent rate than it ever really has been before. Then of course you kind of have to question the, I mean, the direction that the government is pushing for people. Like, are they really after our best interest or our best health? And what ends up happening is you see that sometimes it's not. And then that
yeah,
question right there and that level of
yeah,
skepticism is going to bleed into other fields. And so when you're at that position of, you've been hard headed your entire life, and you eventually now you start to become skeptic of different things like nutrition, and skeptic of different things like the educational system and whatnot. You try to remove your hard hat and stay in this hyper malleable state, but what ends up happening is the same thing can happen in the opposite end, and you have someone who swoops in who's extremely holistic
exactly.
and has their own personal belief of, you could look at religion, you could look at nutrition, you could look at whatever, and since you've obviously removed your hard hat and you're now in this hyper malleable state, you fall victim to immediately believing anything that you see on social media, on news articles, whatever, without really ever questioning or looking deeper for yourself. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with, of course, being open-minded and recognizing that, but that's where most people fall short, is staying closed-minded after they've
Yeah,
latched on to a new perspective. You're essentially a mousetrap, and of course, if you're holding on to the cheese for your entire life, and then you realize, man, this cheese was fake the whole time, and then they pry open back that mousetrap, and they give you a new pair of fake cheese, you clamp down, and you're now stuck on it. You're just the same as you once were before,
exactly.
and you're never really going to open back up again until somebody disproves it in a large enough manner for you to change your perspective.
Y-
And it can seem
y-
like a really bad, what do you even call that? Like a midlife crisis for a lot of people. And this could be me projecting here, but it can seem like a midlife crisis when you've been taught one thing your entire life, and then when you finally start to understand that it may be different, you kind of really get into this sensitive position where everything can seem like a conflicting belief. So that's
Right.
just, I don't know. I think that defending some people, or going into it with a little bit more of a softer landing is necessary for most people.
I do understand that. Yeah, because it is one of those things too where I'm honestly under the presumption that, if a skeptic without evidence is really what are they but just a fool. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like if you're gonna make an argument, there has to be a basis to it, right? So I think even if you say, well, I don't believe in science, I don't believe in this and that, you know, I could see that, right? Because they quite often bring up the thing about, well, who funded the study. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it's a little bit more nuanced than that. We won't delve into that, but I mean, obviously, you know, science, and like we did also talk about this when I was muted. You can really make data say whatever you want. You can have data, validate the complete opposite thing of which it implies, because data, statistics, everything that's quantitative, it just doesn't seem to map as almost subjectively onto like humanity. It's just one of those things where you can really kind of take data and mesh it and make it
Mm,
form any sort of opinion. And that was the thing with Postman, right? Because it's one of those things
yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like, and
Forgot
so
about
I
that.
guess we can get into it if we really need to, because that's more of a spiritual almost argument, as it's like,
Yeah.
it's one of those things where, yeah, you have data that confirms that you're correct. But what does that data really imply about, yourself and your opinion? Because it's like, I was honestly trying not to post this about this specifically on TikTok, right? He has evidence, and Yo went into this, that is able to, basically say that there are people of, on average, lower intelligence within certain
Yeah, yeah,
groups. What does that mean to you, right? It's like, it's a morale. It always was a morality issue from the start. And it's one of those things where you can never really have even a full picture in the first place, because it's like, I mean, seriously, there's so many variables there. There's so many variables. It's like a study really isn't going to tell you everything.
yeah. And I think that if you ultimately are, I guess, so small-minded that you are going to let one study determine how you approach the rest of your thinking, then you've kind of already lost. And so the same thing can apply back to placebo effect. So obviously this I'm gonna one of the ways I'm gonna kind of try to connect this here with fitness is using a sleep tracker. Using a sleep tracker
Yeah.
here, people love
Yes.
to get, oh, I got a 95 sleep score, like I slept great tonight, whatever. But of course, if you're basing everything off of just an arbitrary number that you yourself don't even understand how they got there or even got that number in the first place, then
Exactly.
you yourself have already, thrown yourself into a bold-faced lie. And so if you see some bit of extrapolated information that once again you don't understand how they got there, you just saw it in probably an Instagram reel or a TikTok short, and now you're going to use that to immediately start judging and prefacing, a small group of people or a larger group of people, then I don't think that it's the smartest approach. So because there's always, like we've been saying this entire time, going to be a level of nuance. So, but I completely agree that questioning morals as well is definitely something you have to do, because if you're going based off that research or data or literature, and then from there you are ultimately deciding the value or the worth of a human life. Yeah, that kind of just shows who you are as a person.
Exactly. And those are people that are typically narcissistic in a way. I wouldn't even say, actually, I wouldn't say narcissistic. I would say egotistical is a better way to put it, because it's like, how can you truly sit here and pass judgment upon another person for a trait that they're not in control of, right? It's like, that's almost playing God. Um, Even if you don't believe in God to an extent, we know
Yeah,
as a part of humanity, we know what we are supposed to be bounded by, right? And the playing
yeah,
God never works out for anybody. So I had like a really long, drawn out conversation. There's a guy that always texts me um, on Snapchat, and he is a flaming, um, one of those people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he texts me, he tells me how much a terrible person I am, all this stuff, and this and that. And for some reason, I still entertain it. And I just sit there and I just address his argument. I'm like, don't even address points within the argument. It's truly, what do you wish to accomplish? And it's like, you don't, these people are just fueled by rage, right? I don't see them as less of a person just because they feel this way. It's just, us as humans, a lot of people are emotionally driven, right? And they act off of
yeah,
impulse, and it drives them to wild conclusions, even though reality is a little more nuanced than that, right? There's not quite a concrete answer for most things, even though people want a concrete answer. And it's like that's just not how the world works. And because people
Yeah.
want peace of mind at the end of the day.
It's
Um,
easier to I forget the analogy, but I'm gonna kind of wild ball here and go on my own. It's easier to focus on like wiping one spot of the table rather than cleaning multiple tables at one time.
yeah.
You can obviously go guns blazing in one emotion, and it's much easier for somebody to just have an extreme level of anger rather than having enough understanding of multiple different topics or situations, whatever, to really balance out how they actually feel. And that's why most people fall into that, you know, uh, issue of just they have like one ultimate mindset and they
Mhm.
just go guns blazing. Like, I'm just going to be pissed off and nobody's going to change my mind. I'm just going to be pissed off
It's
all
like
day, every day.
fatalism. It's like it has doomed humanity from the very start. Is fatalism,
Hmm.
and I don't know. It's definitely interesting. We're not here to talk a bunch about philosophy. Neither of us are qualified philosophers, I guess. Speaking of, by the way, Banks actually went to school for cybersecurity.
Yeah, no, that did not end up going well. Of course, the competition was way out of my league, and I did not approach it for the right reasons. Going to school for cybersecurity, it was mainly just a short-lived money, seeking opportunity. So
Yeah,
to be as
a
honest as
business
possible.
opportunity. So when did you choose that you wanted to kind of drop out and just focus on all this?
So I think it was whenever I first got to Mississippi State University, I had began posting on social media a few years ago, actually, whenever I had finally gotten there. And I was in the midst of my initial weight loss transformation, or actually my second one. Because most people don't know that the transformation that I post today actually was broken down into two parts. It was not like a one weight drop, and
It
that's
was
where
a
I ended up at.
crazy. I mean, it was a really a
It looks
crazy
it looks crazy
transformation.
when you're staring at it now, but I had initially dropped the first bit of weight in high school, and it was like I want to say a 60-pound weight drop for I want to say maybe just a few months, 3, 4 months, something like that. Very intense, not the smartest thing at all. And then over time, I decided ultimately to bulk back up, and I got fat once again. But of course, that
The
didn't look
dreamer bulk.
as yeah, exactly. That it didn't look as bad as the first one that I'd had. So I ultimately decided to post online and make it look as if I had done one bulking cut. And so, anyways, long story short, to just not yap, whenever I'd gotten to college, that is when I'd started posting my second transformation. And that is when obviously most people know me from is the transformation videos that went pretty viral on Instagram and TikTok, especially. And that's where I got most of my following from in about 5 or 6 months. And then from there, I just kind of plateaued on my account. And over the summer, as I had been getting home from my sophomore year, I told my parents, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to use this to my advantage and try to look into possibly doing some online coaching. I already had a pretty vast baseline of knowledge within nutrition and training and just a general sense of how to, approach handling, taking on clients and whatnot. So I ultimately decided, I'm going to say ultimately 5 more times, I decided to end up just starting the online fitness coaching, and I had some help there from a mentor, but I won't name any names. But and then obviously, now we're here. We're point blank at the same spot 1 year later, which is quite
Yeah,
funny.
that's awesome, man.
Um, so it's been quite the journey, and I could not thank you guys that are watching more because this is the same people that made it all possible. I'm not sitting here acting as if I've won or anything like that, but it's obviously this is definitely a win in my mind. So.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it'd be so lucrative, but it really is. It's insane. It almost
Yeah, and it's not
feels.
it's not really about the money, which is the best part. It's more so just about the freedom. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie. Like, people talk
yeah.
about that one a lot, but the
That's a
I
big thing.
sometimes I get caught in it, and have to, put myself back to reality that the fact that I'm able to like not have to stress about whatever, then of course that is just an unreal amount of gratitude that I should have for the position that I'm in. And so I think some people take that for granted, and I try my best not to. But of course, I've had my fair share of moments where I've complained without really understanding how good of a position I'm in. So
No, I mean it really is awesome, and you almost get used to that freedom. But I mean, it
yeah,
is at the end of the day, it's one of the best jobs. Okay, content creating is one of the best jobs. It's like you sit there and you say, "Man, this is like first world problems. Like I don't want to
yeah,
post. Like I don't want to
exactly.
post. That's a problem." It's like, dude, you're literally it. You have access to essentially instant validation. Like literally, you post something and people are already congratulating you. Sorry, I'm pulling up the stream.
No, you're fine.
And it's like you still don't want to go do it. It's just it's just laziness. It really
Hmm.
is crazy. But yeah, I'm so glad I got into it. I don't even know how I ended up in this situation, but we're here, right?
That's right. That's all that matters.
It
You made a right
is.
decision at the right time.
Yeah, man. It really is strange, and it's you're a little quiet. I'm a little quiet. Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna be a little. We're gonna use. Tell me, guys. Tell me, chat. How am I good? Am I is my mic a good volume now?
Thank you, Maddox.
Okay, well, so no one in my chat is speaking. All right, maybe they're just listening to this while they're working out or something. Anyways, I was gonna say. Oh, no, I do have a delay on. I'm pretty sure. With that being said, we're just gonna use yours, anyways. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're just gonna use yours. But
we are 1.5 hour in.
oh, let's go.
So
Awesome. Yeah,
I know, freaking crazy.
that is crazy. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, probably because of all the troubleshooting.
Yeah, for real.
The
I think
first
we.
episode is going to be filled with mistakes. I really should have pushed it back a little bit so I could figure everything out.
Nah,
But
that's okay. That's okay.
honestly, no. But yeah, I really am proud to be here. And I actually started out originally as like a science-based lifting creator, and that only got
I
me so
saw that when I
far.
looked through your account. I saw that you had the like the 2 sets of 6 to 8 reps of everything, or I think you went as low as 4. To be quite honest.
Yeah, yeah, I still do 4 reps actually. So I've never lost any of the
Really?
methodologies that I gained from that time. It was never, and I was one of the earlier ones on it, right? Because
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not saying like
Did it first.
T and F was like he's way early, and obviously training is one of those things where the same things just circle and regurgitate over
Yeah,
and over
yeah,
again.
yeah.
But I mean like I was kind of early to the whole thing, and yet I never really kind of I don't know. I never really got a lot of the success that the other guys did, right?
Yeah.
So I think I started around the same time Trend Baby did and Yo Talks, all of them. They got really successful, and I was just sitting there scratching away. I think I got like 10,000 followers after like a year of posting. I was really happy, and then it just holy voice crack. It just stayed. It stayed at 10,000. Like I was like, man, I'm not getting any more. Like I'm literally not getting a single more follower. And so then I was like, I don't know. I tried to pursue the whole thing where it was like, let me just get as strong as possible and shock people.
Yeah, and deadlift 700 pounds at 17.
And I remember this was the moment that I was like, I'm cutting because I remember I gained all this weight and I was like, I'm going to gain all this weight. I'm going to get super freaking strong at everything. And everyone's, I'm going to blow up. It's going to be awesome. Posted 700 deadlift. I was so freaking happy when I did it. I was so excited. And I posted it and it got like 3,000 views. And I was like, okay. And so then
It's over.
I got
It's
200,
over.
200
Pick a new
likes. And
yeah, pick a new route.
I was like, shit. So then September rolled around. And I was like, I got to start cutting. End of September, I started cutting slowly. I did like the slowest cut ever. And then after about 6 months, um, actually not even, no, it was less than that. In January, my content started doing a little bit better. And then
Mm.
February rolled around, and I don't know what happened in February, but my content just started blowing up. So I posted a video, and I remember this one still to this day. It was this song. It's some stupid song. It was the one that was like bass da da da. Some stupid fucking song.
I need to look into it. I wouldn't know off the
And
top of my
I
head.
posted that, and I got like 50,000 views, and I was like, "Let's go, 50,000 views!" I got 50,000 views in forever, and I was at 14,000 followers, and the next day I was at 20,000, and I was like, "Holy crap! I got 6,000." So I just kept posting. I posted literally every single 5 hours, and every single post. And this was the week that made like literally, I'm pretty sure put me in the TikTok algorithm. That every single post that I made within that week got over 500, like it got over like 250,000 views.
Yeah.
All of them. And it was like I was like, holy crap, like this could actually go somewhere. And so I was like, I look at the numbers. I'm sure you can relate to this too. You sit there, you look at
Yes.
the numbers. You're like 18,000 followers. You're like, holy crap! I'm at 18,000. Like people are texting
Like
me,
refreshing over and
dude,
over.
you're at 18,000 followers. Like come back the next day. I'm like 25,000. I'm like 25,000. It's like what? They come back the next day. It's like 40,000. I'm like, dude, this is insane. It's just like you're blowing up, and you're like, you're sitting there like, can I still ride the with the wind? You know what I mean? Like, is this
Hmm.
gonna end? And I was so stressed out all the time because I was like, it's gonna end. And you just gotta sit there and say, you know what? If it ends, it ends, man. It's who cares?
Yeah, I had this a very very similar. That's crazy because it's very rare that a creator has that kind of like initial blow up. But yours is definitely still happening. You're absolutely still in a position where you can continue posting, and you will likely get plenty of views. Mine ended in around December of last year. Now, it did not end from some miraculous reason. It ended because I just stopped posting. Like I just
Yeah, you
became
gotta keep posting.
inconsistent.
That's the biggest thing.
So I remember I had gone from I want to say I was at around 2000 like 2000 3000 maybe followers something like that. And then I started having those weight loss videos that popped off and I forget the amount of views in 1 month, but I think the highest it ever hit was around like 70 million or something like that.
What?
And
That's
I
insane.
know it was great. It was like literally overnight. I had gone from I hit 100K followers, and I want to say it was 5 months or 6 months. So,
What?
and that was so so quick. And one of the things that I kept thinking about is like, man, this is just so fun, and it really is very addictive when you're able to have, like you said earlier, that instant gratification.
Right.
I could have posted anything and it was just getting a ton of views, a ton of likes, a ton of interaction, and that was great. But over time, what ended up happening is I honestly just kind of fell out of love because when you start to get all that gratification, you immediately become way more sensitive. And so
Oh
of
yeah.
course any sort of
Hate
effect on
comment.
your physique
Oh
or
yeah, no, the
whatever,
physique.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
way more like it's way more important to you to fix that as soon as possible than it ever has been before. And so the body dysmorphia gets way worse because you have way more eyes on you at one time. And this is a water take, but still, I think it's worth mentioning.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
because what are you at right now on TikTok? I think on TikTok you're
88,000, I think. Um,
dang,
yeah,
holy crap.
thanks, man. Yeah, no, I remember it was God, I remember talking to my parents. I was like, I hit 10,000. I was like, Mom, I'm in the big leagues now. The 10,000 followers. It's like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to like go sign a deal with some company or something. Never ended up doing
Yeah, you yeah.
that.
I
And
made the mistake of doing that. So
yeah, so
you gotta
so
be.
who did you sign with?
I signed with Able,
I'm not
a
familiar with them.
men's clothing company out of Europe. So when I had first started posting and getting a lot of followers, that was like one of my big things is I kept telling myself, "Oh, I'm gonna be wearing clothes and get Young LA and get this and brand and that brand."
No,
And
it never
at the
happened for me.
time, I was completely unaware of how that even worked.
Yeah.
I think that if I could go back in time or ever recommend something with your case specifically, is like make sure you know your worth as a creator.
Oh
Like you have
yeah.
to understand how many eyeballs you're getting people to see your content constantly. At the time when I was getting a lot of views, I did not understand. And so, I saw my first ever whatever, like $1,500 for a month or something like that. And I was like, this
Well,
is just
that is a lot of money. That's a lot more money than I ever
I
made.
and so yeah, and so it'll shock you. And you'll be like, man, this is crazy. Like I'm taking this offer right away from a clothing company or whatever. And that's not to say what the number is. But you're gonna see that. And some people are so quick to jump on that. And I say some people like me, are so quick to jump on that. And then you realize in the future, like, man, I actually probably could have done a like significantly higher amount if I had just stuck to my worth and realized how many people were actually looking at my content.
No, exactly, man.
So
That's a big
and
thing.
then you get roped in with a company that you don't even want to promote, which is also one of the biggest issues about Able. I was not a fan of their clothing at all,
No,
which
yeah,
sucked.
I've gotten and I never turn down the free stuff, but man, I get sent some bad stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I get like I got I think the worst one. I'm not gonna say which company it is, but I got sent one, and they had a good amount of followers on Instagram. It was the
yeah.
worst shirt I've ever seen in my entire life. Me and my buddy were dying at like probably for a good 30 minutes. We put it on. I couldn't even put it on. It was too small to put on.
Yeah.
So we put it on one of my little like dummies, a little boxing dummy. We put it on one of those, and we were like, "This is the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen in my entire life." It looked like a gimp costume.
Yeah.
And it was like I was sitting there. I was like, "This is oh my!" I didn't even. I just never responded to the comment. They were like, "Did the shirt come in?" I was like, I can't tell them."
I haven't seen it yet, man. I don't know.
I
Something
was like,
happened.
I
I lost it.
I think I think it,
Customs took this.
yeah, I don't know. And
They
that
seized my
this was
package.
forever ago, which that's funny, but yeah, no, definitely. And people always get surprised too whenever I'm like, they're like, "How much money do you make from the whole TikTok thing? Like you're blowing
Yeah,
up."
yeah.
I'm like,
Nothing right
I
now,
don't make
probably.
any money. It's like
Yeah, TikTok, the only way to really monetize that
TikTok shop.
is posting super long videos, work with brands, and then TikTok Shop. Like TikTok Shop is the
TikTok
biggest
shop.
one.
Yeah. I don't
So
how much money do people even actually make from that? Like I know
from
it's
TikTok Shop,
yeah, is it a lot or
yeah, it's a ton. It's a lot. If you're really really popular on the thing, the part that surprises people the most is the people that you see that have countless videos, even if the videos have like 5 likes, 25 likes. They countless videos like Cali Muscle. You know Cali Muscle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He still watches
The
videos quite a bit.
obviously he's an anomaly, so he's very high up on the TikTok shop. But a lot of these same creators that you see, I'm gonna try to impersonate one of them. I forget his name, but he's always like it's always like a whey protein or like a little bit of a bag of protein powder or something like that. He's like, yo, my favorite channel, the TikTok shop, 70 below, get everything. Like read it super fast. Those guys are making probably well above 25 to $35,000 a month from TikTok shop. So
That's insane. Yeah,
yeah, you can make a ton of money from TikTok shop. So
yeah, no,
it's
dude, it's insane. I mean, it really is insane. I know True maybe made enough to where he could buy a car. He bought that car, which I'm sure he was
yeah,
on
yeah,
some
yeah.
kind of
He probably did very
down
well.
payment
So
or something.
not to obviously pocket watch or like the money, matters the most thing. Because some people obviously get really, really, interested in that, but everyone has their own like their idol, something that they're gonna worship. That can be money, that can be ego, that can be your physique, that can be whatever. I just think something that people need to realize is you're eventually gonna have to disconnect and have something that's a little bit more worthwhile because you're always gonna chase more. You're gonna chase more money. Like none of the materialistic things in the world are actually gonna keep you happy and satisfied. So
Yeah, no, for sure. And the thing is too is that this whole like social media thing for me is just therapeutic. Like people say like what is this like bros posting whatever. It's like I exactly like I just post whatever. I mean, I don't really care. I've kind of always been like that even though when I was a kid I'd post YouTube videos. I kind of just post whatever. And it's one of those things where it's like I just don't really think that there's a point in like, why do you have to stick yourself to one thing? It's like you can
yeah.
a whole
I
bunch of
saw that you started with the Minecraft. I remember you making a video about that. You discussed how you used to use a modded Minecraft server that worked with different elemental tables or something like that.
oh my gosh. Yes, the Minecraft mod. And someone had the freaking cojones to say that I vibe coded that. No, I coded that back in the day. Wait 1 second.
I go for it. Oh, hopefully y'all like the information on the live stream. Been trying to put in some good work on here, some overtime, but man, we got all over the place. I think one thing I want to mention at the very end of the stream is I want to have a bit of a hot topic. That way we can have some bit of, discussion to see possibly, what y'all's opinions are. And I think I already have my idea on which topic it might be. But we'll see if I have enough to get into that.
This
No
has been
way.
this was the inspiration. So basically, when I was a kid, I used to remember mnemonic devices. Okay.
Okay.
And my favorite mnemonic device when I was a kid, and this is the thing that pisses me off where people say that you're not autistic. when I was a kid, I used to try and see how many like integers, bits, like strings of integers I could remember,
Mhm.
and so that I could get better at memorizing like the digits of pi. And so my favorite one was the periodic table. So my grandmother got me a periodic table, and basically she got me the periodic table, and it sat up in my room. And one day I was like, what if I just like make this in Minecraft? So I started like programming in Minecraft, and then I got like pretty good at it, and I
Yeah.
made a mod when I was probably 12, and I
Yeah.
worked on the mod for probably a year and a half straight. Literally just every day I just come home and I work on
Dang.
it. And I literally failed like four of my classes in seventh grade because I just would sit and I in class I'd be sitting there scheming about what I was gonna do, and I literally went and did all this stuff, and yeah, I failed like four classes, but it didn't matter because it was like the COVID year or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
like the
yeah.
kind of COVID year, like where you just come back, and so yeah, I only had to retake math, which is like so funny now when people are like, "You're the math guy, right?" And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
"Yeah, I'm the
I
math
saw you
guy."
post,
I failed math in
you were
seventh
posting all
grade.
the, what's the Desmos? All the Desmos
Yes,
videos?
I love making stuff in Desmos. I don't as much anymore because when I would get bored in class, I would just make stuff in there. Um, but the thing was, is like, I always was good at math when I was a kid.
Mm.
The problem was, is that like, they would always yell at me, because I would like not do, I would never show my work, which is a common problem amongst kids with
Yeah.
ADHD. It's like, oh, you have to show your work. It's like, I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
So they'd always yell at me for that. But then I got into seventh grade. I was so focused on this mod thing, and that's when you learn like algebra. So I was in algebra because I was up
Yeah.
one
Mhm.
in math, and so I took algebra, and you can't learn algebra without taking the
Yeah,
class.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like I wasn't going to class and I wasn't paying attention when I was there. You're gonna fail algebra, right? So it was one of those ones where I had to make it up in the summer, which was a
Algebra in the
funny one.
7th grade?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, algebra seventh grade.
I was not, like, advanced in school by any means. I think I pushed myself in, uh, summer college, but well, I think because you have, like, pre-algebra, and you obviously have, like, uh,
I think every
what is it
course
usually
is
take?
different. So you had to take geometry, and typically I
Yeah, you
think,
take geometry, pre-algebra, and then
yeah, for us it was like geometry was sixth grade for me, like that. But that's like prerequisite geometry. It's not actual geometry. And then
so I must be far behind.
no, 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 you're not far behind. That's
I think I
like
took geometry, like, my 10th grade year in high school, I'm not even gonna lie.
yeah, well, dude, that's I'm talking about like prerequisite geometries in like sixth grade, and then you take it again. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
So
right,
you
that's
get
right.
like your legitimate geometry. You're supposed to take that, I think, in freshman or sophomore year.
Salty, Splatoon, the actual
Yeah.
real man's geometry, a bowl of nails with milk
Yeah, the real
without
freaking
milk.
geometry, with like proofs and stuff, which everyone hated.
Golly.
Like the yeah, no, but I love math. I really do love math. Um, it's just one of those things too where it's like I love teaching people math as well. I've gotten
Mhm.
to the point now where it's like the stuff that I want to post about regarding math, I can't compact that into a TikTok video that's like 60
Yeah.
seconds long. And also like for me to go out and make a 30-minute video, it's like I could do that. That's a lot of time. You know what I mean?
I think that you would really benefit from just doing the longer format videos.
Yeah, I need to do
I
that.
don't know, people don't understand that also the algorithm is not nearly as complicated as you might think. The longer 10-minute videos seem to get pushed the exact same
It's the
as a short
same.
form
Yeah.
video. It's the exact same. Like I'll post a 10-minute rant and I'll literally think, man, this is just 10 minutes that I'm just throwing out there for no reason. And then I'll check back and the 10-minute videos will likely get way more views
Oh
than
yeah.
like a coherent 60-second clip because a lot of people really appreciate the authenticity.
Exactly.
But I also think having the personality of like, yapping and seeming like you're kind of just like, I don't know, kind of throwing it off the shade or whatever. I think that in your position, you would benefit a lot from that because you already naturally have that type of personality within your content. So I think if you decided to, speed up or not speed up, sorry, lengthen your videos to possibly, 5, 10 minutes to where you really get your point across, it would help a lot. It's just one thing that becomes difficult when your content is that long is keeping your thoughts in one string.
Oh yeah, staying
Like,
cohesive is a big thing.
yeah, like branching off and just rambling about something else. Like this whole conversation was supposed to be catered around nutrition, and then we just went through like philosophy and like everything and
Yeah,
morals
the
and
think
whatnot.
cap,
So
man. The think cap. It really does start to like warp your mind a little bit. You go to different topics, but I mean the whole point is supposed to be just random shit,
that's right.
you
That's
know.
right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely have a lot to learn when it comes to nutrition and biology, etc.
Yeah,
I need
everybody does.
so much information. But my interest particularly is in pharmaceuticals. I've always been incredibly interested. And when I say pharmaceuticals, people think
I know people are
immediately
going
of
to immediately,
gear.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but that's not really about that. It's so much deeper. Like I mean, really, it's all so incredibly interesting. Different facets and mechanisms within the body. Um,
yeah.
it definitely is. It's awesome. I love it. Right.
Yeah. It's super fun, especially when you first get involved with it. Having firsthand practice working with clients or being able to post online and having that's one of the hidden benefits of having a social media account is you talked about the instant gratification. And I think the instant gratification paired with the ability to do, good research, they are unmatched in a sense of teaching yourself and not only teaching yourself, but teaching others. Whenever I learned enough information to make just one coherent thought, that thought was immediately posted. That post would have ended up, getting some likes, getting some interaction, and then people in the comments like, "Wow, I learned something new," and blah blah blah. And you might have one comment that's saying, "Oh, well, you're wrong because of this reason right here." That process alone is going to slowly develop into you doing more research, becoming more coherent on any specific topic, you posting more and more, and teaching not only others, but teaching yourself ultimately how to really, really sift through different amounts of research and points to really make one coherent thought. So I think, having the ability to do good research, I think it goes a super long ways. A lot of people just don't have the ability to do so.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And so, how long we been going for?
We've been going for an hour and 48 minutes, and, yeah, I mean, I'm tapped out. I think I'm
Yeah, we got
I
everything,
think
man.
an hour and 48 minutes is a long time. Can't give
Well,
up
so
too much free
we got
game here,
about
so
an hour 30, I think, of actual content. So I think I'll cut most of these off at 90 minutes.
yeah.
And I think a lot of people would appreciate what we've talked about. It doesn't all have to be educational, right? We can kind of just, people appreciate difference and variance in opinion. But I mean, yeah, man, it was great talking to you. Hey, that we
Yeah,
had
of
all the
course, man,
technical
likewise.
difficulties. Being the first
That's okay.
person is always going to be like that. But
That's right,
but
I'm thankful.
many
Let's
more to
go.
follow. You set a great
Of
standard.
course, of course.
But yeah, man, you know a lot. I'm gonna cut up some of this into
Likewise.
clips. But yeah, dude, it was great talking to you. Uh, that's so.
Let's freaking go, man.
Hey,
Well, one last thing I will mention, someone in my chat just relayed and said that your Discord link is expired,
yeah,
so I'm not sure you're
it's like all these inside jokes. That yes, the Discord link is expired, and it's a joke within the Discord
Oh, okay, okay.
about the Discord link does not work.
Dang.
I need to set
So I
it up
just got
again.
I just
No,
got
no, no.
messed with,
You're
man.
totally good. It's only like two or three people.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, man.
I
Hey,
wanna see, how can I get this stream to download itself? I
I
guess
don't.
whenever I
I think
click
you can
end
do it
stream, it should.
through settings. Let me see output stream. Output. You may just have to download it through YouTube. But yeah, it was great talking to you, man. I cut all this up into clips. Um, and it was great having you guys watching for the few that were watching. But y'all have a good one.
I'm gonna name it Brain Buster Podcast. Alright.
Peace
Peace
out.
out.